is CNN Breaking News.
We got some important breaking news. Also a CNN exclusive, stunning and truly provocative comments from Iran's foreign minister only days after the Iran nuclear deal went into effect. Our chief national security correspondent Jim Sciutto is joining us from Davos, Switzerland right now, where only minutes ago he wrapped up an interview with the Iranian Foreign Minister Javad Zarif. Jim, tell us about this nuclear deal and what you heard from the Iranian Foreign Minister.
Well, let me tell you, if I was able to speak with him for about 40 minutes, he's comfortable, he's confident, he's quick with a smile, but he's also unbending in Iran's positions, particularly when it comes to the nuclear deal. He's saying, in effect, that the White House has been exaggerating how much Iran give up. Here's what he said about what Iran is doing and is not doing as part of the nuclear agreement.
The White House version both underplays the concessions and overplays Iranian commitment. And I'm not interested in that. I'm simply saying, why don't we all stick to what we agreed? Why do we need to produce different texts?
Explain then to our viewers what's different in terms of Iran's commitment to what you agreed to and what the White House says you agreed to.
Well, the terminology is different. The White House tries to portray it as basically a dismantling of Iran's nuclear program. That is the word that they use time and again. And I urge you to read the entire text. If you find a single word that even closely resembles dismantling or could be defined as dismantling in the entire text, then I would take back my comment.
So what is it Iran doing?
Iran? No. What the text, what Iran has agreed is not to enrich above 5%. We did not agree to dismantle anything.
Another point he made was that the deal, in effect, is reversible, but he said that that's true for both sides. And in fact, Wolf, we've heard that from American officials who have said as well that some of the economic relief that has been extended to Iran is also reversible if Iran doesn't live up to its side of the deal.
So clearly what he's suggesting is that they've only agreed they're not going to enrich beyond 5%, but everything that they already have, they're not going to dismantle anything. Is that what he's saying to you?
That's in effect what he's saying. Now, the White House has talked about that they're dismantling connections, for instance, in these cascades of centrifuges, all these centrifuges connected to each other, which enrich the uranium up higher and higher and closer to weapons grade. They may be disconnecting a connection here or there, he's in effect saying, but they're not tearing anything down, which makes his point that, listen, if the U.S. and the West doesn't live up to their side, we can turn this around very quickly. It's reversible. We're not dismantling anything. We may just be pulling it back for now.
Yeah, it's certainly going to give ammunition to those in the Senate and the House of Representatives who want a tougher sanctions bill right now. You also had a chance to speak with the foreign minister about Syria, specifically about Bashar al-Assad, and he made some startling comments on that front as well. Tell us what he said.
He did. You know, well, I asked him. It's been a tough week regarding Syria. You've got these talks going on in Montreux, Switzerland, where Iran was invited and then disinvited. You have a lot of trouble, a lot of disagreement being expressed in public there. But he expressed some hope to me. He said, I asked him, do you think that these talks, without Iran's participation, have any hope of moving Syria closer to peace? And he said, yes, I think they can, as long as all parties are involved, that this can be a first step and that we can get involved at a later time. But I also pressed him on whether, under a political solution to the war in Syria, would Iran accept a solution that does not involve Bashar al-Assad? And here's what he said to that question.
Would you accept a political solution that does not include Bashar al-Assad as part of the government?
I will accept a political solution that allows the Syrian people to decide. I will not, of course, it's not for Iran to accept or reject any political solution, nor is it for any other country. It's only for the Syrian people to decide.
So if the people decide...
But I believe the Syrian people should not be given preconditions. If the people believe, if governments outside Syria are so confident that the government currently in power in Syria is such a disaster for the Syrian people, why don't they allow the Syrian people to go to the ballot box and make their own choice in a free and fair election?
You know, it's interesting. I also asked him about this week of contrast, because on the positive side, you have the successful implementation of the nuclear agreement starting on Monday. On the other side, you have these talks regarding peace in Syria going nowhere, Iran invited and disinvited. And I said, how does that contrast with this warming in Iranian relations? And he laughed and he said, well, let's see how long that lasts. He was joking, because he went on to say that he's confident. I asked him, does he believe the U.S. and Iran can reach a long-term nuclear deal? He said he's 100% confident if there is trust between the two sides. And he said if there's no trust, then the chances are nil. But he at least sounded a note of hope there that the two sides can reach disagreement on the most difficult issues, even after a very difficult week, Wolf.
Very difficult week indeed. Jim Sciutto with an exclusive interview with the Foreign Minister of Iran. Jim, thanks very much.